Hi, I'm Martha Sorohan, and I'm having a conversation this morning with Kathy Zappatello, who is Executive Director of the Conneaut Public Library. We have a lot to talk about this morning. You are wearing several different hats, and I just thought it'd be nice to bring the city of Conneaut up to date with a lot of the exciting things that are happening in the city with economic development and also with the Conneaut Public Library. Let's start with the harbor development area. I think a lot of people are aware there's a lot of new businesses going in there, new businesses opening up, and as a result, there are more needs down there. So tell us what's going on from your angle.
Well, thank you, Martha, because there's so much information and we do want to get it out, and it is, some of it's so layered, it's confusing, there's a lot of moving parts going on, but I want to take us back a little bit before that, because both of the things that we're going to talk about this morning originated from, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? COVID hit, and everything closed down, and we were teleworking, and it was, what can we be doing behind the scenes? We're not working in a traditional way, so what can we do to be prepared for when the world opens? You know what I mean? So we kind of just kept that umbrella up, and really that was our jump off to find out, well, let's fill some needs, let's figure out how we can partner, because even though it was a quiet time and everybody's like, kind of retreated back, we kind of sprung into action a little bit more behind the scenes. And I want people to know that. So we had an opportunity, as you know, I am, or maybe you don't know, I'm president of the Association for Rural and Small Libraries. And so
That's national.
And that's a national organization. And so I want to remind everyone here in Conneaut that the library is looked at as a leader throughout the United States. And we really have, kind of shown a light to other small and rural libraries on how to do things. And every once in a while, we also glean something from that. So being involved helps tremendously.
So can I ask a question? What is defined as a rural library?
That's a great question.
A population of the
patrons, or it's your population of your service area. But what we say at the Association for Rural and Small Libraries, if you think you're small and rural, then you're small and rural, and you can join our organization, because state by state and even internationally there are different parameters for that. But when we look at this grant that we're going to talk about, which is the Library Transform Community Grant, when ALA defines a small and rural library, it's a population of less than 25,000. And so certainly Conneaut fits in on that. And then different states have different monetary revenue streams, and they put caps on. We're under all of those caps. And so we are, by definition, a small and rural library. We're outside of an hour from a metropolitan area, Cleveland, so there are different demographics as far as that. We really, even though we're closer to Erie, we're funded by state tax dollars in Ohio, so we follow Ohio guidelines. So, but that's what defines us as a small and rural library. But, some interesting things happened. The association that I am a part of, we collaborated with ALA. There was a private donor who donated money to ALA. And this person said, I'm from a small and rural community, and I know that there are small and rural libraries that are at the center of their communities, and that they are, everyone's always trying. That's the library. We're always trying to help connect the dots, bring services to our folks here. And so this individual said, I know that there's some tough conversations going on, and people, let's think back on COVID and all of the different aspects of the world that has come to light. And so he said, who better to lead some of these conversations than the heart of the community, which is your small and rural library. So funds were made available for libraries to host conversations, host difficult conversations, provide an atmosphere where folks feel safe to talk about some issues that are arising. So we looked at the parameters of that grant, and we, number one, assembled a grant team here at the library. And so the team, we talked about, what can we do? What kind of conversations could we have? Well, we know that there's a lot of development going on in our harbor area.
Absolutely.
And we also know that development, that's hard, right? When we're from a library where we're used to very transparent, but this is different. This is proprietary ideas. It's people have invested their time, energy, and money, and that is, should be held sacred. So we said, what can we do to help those folks with the investment that they made? And we thought, well, what if we could bring everyone together and help form a safe space where collaboration could take place, where perhaps some of these individuals can align with their goals. And then it could be one cohesive voice coming back to, whether it's the city or other grants or other outside things that could help that area. And that really starts by coming together. So we wrote the grant to basically hold a community conversation with these harbor merchants. So we applied, we were awarded the grant, and that was a $3,000 grant to hold these conversations. Part of that was a 6-hour training that someone from the grant team, me, had to complete in order to be eligible. And so we wrote the grant, did the training, we were awarded the funds. And so what you see here, to hold the conversations, of course, we needed technology. People need to feel safe and secure, and that means sometimes you don't want to attend in person. And so with the technology you see here, we have a camera so that we can gather those that want to be in person, but folks at home can see who's talking, and have more of a connection to the conversation going on. And the same thing, we can pan the room, everyone is there, plus the person speaking is now seen on a very large TV, which is not, you can't see this right now, but we bought a 70-inch television. So all of the technology, the control panel, the computer, that television, this camera, along with a mobile hotspot. So this is the internet. And so the conversations have taken place here at the Conneaut Public Library using the technology, but if the show has to go on the road, or there's an individual that's trying to participate in a meeting and they don't have internet access, think about the development going on. If they're working during the time and they don't have internet, they can still log in by using this hotspot, or we could actually hold the meeting outside if we wanted to. And so with this, along with, the things that you need to hold a conversation, the Post-its and the bagels and the coffee and, all of those things. So we had our first meeting.
And was it well attended?
It was well attended. We did a lot of research.
Was this invitation only?
It was invitation only, and I know, Martha being one of them, it's like, we want to know who's there, and we want to know what you're talking about, and we're very close to disclosing that. So, because really the goal from the library is, we really wanted to just engage members of the community that are engaged in this, create that safe environment, let them become that group which will then push out that information. It's not really the library that is going to be doing that. So we had our meeting, we created that environment, and we had 3 goals, and we met the goals. One was that the group wanted to continue to meet. And so they did. So that was one of the outcomes. The second one was, who's missing from this conversation? Look around. Do you feel that, have we missed someone? We did extensive research to find out who had purchased, who owned the parcels. We worked with the land bank with the survey that we had completed before, and some other county auditor information, and of course with the city. So they identified some folks that were missing. And then the third was, how do you want these meetings to be held in the future, and what needs need to be met to really continue to make this a group that's collaborative and we're connecting the dots. And they wanted a mediator, somebody that's very familiar with economic development, but also group dynamics. And so we brought in Insight. So after that first meeting, we were...
And those are the city economic development consultants.
Yeah, so that is the group that has been contracted with the Conneaut Foundation, the city, and the port.
Right.
And so they're the logical choice for that. And so after that first initial meeting from the library, we turned that over then to Insight, when they have been conducting the meetings since then. They have one more facilitated meeting that's going to take place, and then they have a little punch card at that meeting where, they're going to be talking about, who are you as a group? What are some of your goals, and how will you continue to meet? Once that happens, the public's going to hear a lot more about, what exactly is going on. Even though we're hearing that from the individual businesses right now, as they, are ready to open and things, shake loose there, so.
Have any new ideas sprung up? I know you're saying you can't really talk about it now. Is there anything that resulted from those meetings that you
Yes.
can talk about?
Well, collaborative. It's a unified voice, and we do this a lot in the library world, where even combined purchasing or ideas on where things should be. The best way I can say this is it's really infrastructure. That's the oldest section of town,
Mhm.
and so we do need to look at lighting and sewer and water and dumpsters and parking lots, and all of that is part of this conversation, and it's sometimes hard when you're just thinking about that as an individual, like, oh my gosh, how do we traverse all this? That's the collective voice that'll say, hey, let's go big picture. Really, what, doesn't matter who owns what, well, where does it make sense where there's parking? And don't we need wider sidewalks? And then it becomes, well, how do we get these things? Well, then if we're a cohesive group, then there's grants and there's other opportunities that can come once you have a unified voice. And so really that's the point we're at right now.
Yeah, and how many businesses are open down there right now, and how many are in the process of, because I know there's quite a few,
There's quite a few.
that are coming.
Yeah.
Is it gonna double the number of businesses
Easily.
once everybody opens down there?
Easily, yeah, easily. There's a lot of new development. There's things that are gonna be being erected that haven't, you don't even know about those things yet. We can see the buildings and we can see the activity, but there's some other movement going on too, so there'll be some new things coming down the
And
pipe.
is everybody really excited? Did you have anybody that said, oh, I don't think we can do this?
No, and
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
fantastic thing about it, is that everybody showed up to work. Everybody wants this, and it was just the library just created that atmosphere, and then we're stepping back, but the technology is here. Our grant team is here to help. We're here to help connect the dots, but really, they're off and running. I mean, it's a really cool group of people that I want everyone watching to know that these are people these are our friends and neighbors. These are our community members. This is their hard-earned money. This isn't grant money. This is investing in us. And the other aspect of that is, this isn't even tourism. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a quality of life for the folks that live here, and amenities that we need and want and deserve in our beautiful town. And they're going to provide that to us, and they are all to be commended, for sure.
Yeah. And so you're gonna be stepping, the library, I mean, you're still gonna be involved in it?
Well, somebody's gotta run the camera, but really it's just to help. We're gonna help connect the dots. We're obviously we have a nice meeting space here, they can continue to meet here, but really it's about that group just being a cohesive voice for the needs that we know need to be met there. And a lot of it is related to infrastructure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And,
but that's not all.
But that's not all. And again, during that, all I can say is during that really scary, slow time where it was like, what are we gonna do now? We're not in here serving the public. And so, everything we were driving books to folks, we have curbside delivering, all this was going on, but I thought, okay, well, we have some irons in the fire that are on a slow simmer, but can we turn that up a little bit and get things going? And one of them is our footprint here at the library. And so I had some very early meetings way back in March and April of last year, and talked to Jim Hockaday and said,
The city manager.
our city manager, and said, many years ago, the library board, before they built the building that we're in now, had plans for our complete lot here on the corner. And that included 3 homes that were still being utilized here on Madison Street. And so I said, what can we do to start really kind of looking at this project? I've got time, And it was through those conversations where we decided that if we partnered with the city and we combined the needs and those infrastructure needs, that we could be using our 2018 comprehensive plan. We could be using the charrettes, and even I've got board minutes from many people through the last 30 years here at the library that have pointed to we needed to be more of a civic commons. Where's our outdoor space? How do we glue this library building to the downtown? How do we continue that development? And so in talks, we've combined forces, and we're writing grants. And so what we're trying to do is develop our block here. And that means infrastructure. And I think you've probably read in the paper or perhaps seen on your show where the city obtained a $1.8 million infrastructure grant that will come down Broad Street. So we said that's a good launching off, and we know when that construction is going to happen. And if we can get our ducks in a row now, then the congruency of that development will all happen in a timely manner. And it's more proactive than anything. So what we're trying to do, we have obtained possession of our last 2 parcels. One being donated to us, the Carberry property that sits right next door to the library. It's been vacant for 30 years. And so Tom Belknap and I, our fiscal officer here at the library, one of our internal goals have always been, you know, we collect data all the time at the library, and we know that there's not enough meeting space. There's just not enough meeting space. We have a meeting room at the library. It's utilized with library programming and outside. There's groups in there right now as we speak, you know, in our archival room, and we're running out of spaces, and then COVID hits. And so not only do we need spaces, but we need to have more space for people. And so now we're really outgrown that space. And so we always needed that programming space. So we, what we're trying to do is write grants to partner with the city to put up a performance area that would be where those houses sit now on Madison Street. Madison Street is also the last paved, or not paved, brick street in Conneaut. I don't know if you know that. We want to retain that atmosphere. And so we also know that our neighbors at the post office, that is their loading and unloading zone, and that corner gets torn up. And so we thought if we can take our development that's going to happen on Broad, attach this Madison Street, we can widen that a little bit, get some more parking, put our addition on for the library to create an outdoor performance space, and a civic commons gathering area. We think of the soapbox derby and all of our parades, and to make a place where somebody could have lunch in the middle of the afternoon. And all of this is, you know, I'd love to say, oh my gosh, this is my brainchild, and we thought of the whole thing. Like, you know, if we look at all the Kent State charrettes, the several that were done, and the comprehensive plan, and like I said, board members from the past, it all points to where do we gather? Where do we gather? And this is a perfect place for that.
Well, and I know the city has also been having discussions about the city parks.
Yes.
And so if you want to talk a little bit about where this fits into that vision.
Yeah, so there has been conversation about Hayward Park, for one. It's in close proximity to the library. It's kind of struggling the same way our skate park struggled, where you know there's not a lot of visibility and it's not very safe and it isn't utilized. And so, can we relocate that park? And we can. So what we would like to do as part of this grant that we're writing, we're currently in the midst of that right now, is to not only add you know, benches and tiered seating and all of this development that's going to happen, but also create a park. So that's play sculptures, and that's, you know, driving by and saying, oh, that looks like a safe, wonderful place to bring the family or to spend time. Plus, we're going to be using it for library programming as well. So, yeah, we're going to have a park. We're going to have a park right here. Yeah.
It sounds amazing. And when I stop and think about it, like, yeah, you really don't have that space right now.
No.
And it would be very welcome.
Yeah.
And, well, I think it'd be very well used.
Yeah, and you know, if anything, COVID has just shown us that, you know, these needs were being, it was jumping off the pages, you know, we know that we needed space to meet. And to have a facility where, I'll dig through my papers and show you a concept drawing, but to have an area where, this is a good one. So it would mirror the way that the library looks, in that it's, you know, the congruency of the architecture. And Ashley Sharp, our resident artist here at the library, is helping us with these concept drawings. But this performance area would be perhaps be able to be closed by a garage door, so you can get more year-round use out of it for groups to meet. It would be equipped with technology so that we can bring in artists and entertainers, and you know, it's a space for other groups to meet and to perform on and to utilize. And so it'd be a multi-purpose space. There would be, we're hoping We're hoping if everything happens, that our friends of the library would have room for their concessions. There's that now restrooms, so that when we are gathering, that all of those amenities are there as well.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
Really exciting.
And it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I've only been here for part of a long time, but it's been a long time. And we're really, what we're doing right now is just trying.
And how long has that concept been in somebody's mind?
Oh, yeah.
When this library went up, I mean, you've got beautiful lawn here out facing Broad Street.
Yeah. What's funny, Tom and I have always talked about it, and Tom is a long-standing employee here. And what's interesting too is, and I don't remember what the issue is, but when you go over to our youth department and you look at the side of the library, which is our south side, that faces Madison Street, I think we had to get up in the ceiling one time, and we were looking at our windows, and there's actually a setup there for an outside door. So I think the idea was someday you could have access, and that's the youth department. So you could have access to the outside by simply replacing the window with a door. And so I thought, oh boy, there's some really smart people that came before me that said, let's be prepared for that expansion. We know we don't currently own those parcels, but someday we will. And so very smart minds, well before I ever took the seat here, said, let's go ahead and add that. So,
do you have any kind of a timeline? I hate to ask because I know everything's in the planning stages, but we need grant funds, and so if everything comes to fruition and we have money to demo and some construction costs and getting those infrastructure needs met, then we're looking at a 2023, 2024. Because we do need some time, and we want it to be also dovetailed with that ODOT grant as well. And if you're going to dig it up, we want to dig it up all at one time. So there's so many moving parts, and I'll tell you, I'm really familiar with library grants. I could write them in my sleep. I can do that, and we're successful at that. But what we've and I'm good at developing people. This is like a confession time. But this is economic development, and so I'm wearing a completely new hat, and I'm going through a brand new grant process that I've never been a part of, and so I'm excited to learn how it goes. But I read and reread, and you can see my papers here highlighted, and I still print a lot of things out. So you approached the city as a partner. They didn't come to you.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think
I know everybody works really well.
What's so funny about you saying that, because I think Jim Hockaday does a great job bringing everybody together, and just being honest and here's how it could work. So, but it also, the library's been involved. I'm not going to say that this just magically happened. Part of our strategic plan was having library folks serve on boards and be part of other community. We were part of the comprehensive plan, so we are astute to not only our own needs, but I think to the other groups around us, and we're always just trying to find ways to collaborate and align those ideas to make things happen. And, we're doing this all while we're trying to reopen the library, and because we had time before, and now that all these things are due, you still have to do them, and we're working with a smaller staff. We've lost people through COVID, just through retirement and finding other jobs, and it's been hard for us here, and still trying to meet the needs of the community, but.
You're still writing the grant. You haven't submitted.
We submitted the initial, and we do have some help. The city and Insight and some other folks that are helping do that. But back to Jim, it's a mutual thing, but we also have a lot of synergy that's always been there, because I have had, since we started this process, I have had other libraries reach out to me saying, can you speak on this? How do we do this? How can we do this in our community? And I've said, I gave a short talk, but I said, I'm not ready to do a workshop on this because I don't know what I'm doing yet. We haven't been successful yet, But there is opportunity to share this knowledge once we go through the process, because this is, like I said, it's a granting source that I think libraries aren't familiar with, but you're eligible for, and to find the right partners. And it might be your city, or it might be another group, but I think the more that we just gather everyone together and define what makes the commonalities and gives us that cohort mentality, I think that it makes everything easier. So
And I know that the library also has been working on some surveys.
Yes.
So they're kind of tied in, but kind of not. So
Well,
talk
you
about
know,
that.
you're gonna see survey. So recently the library pushed out a survey, and once we started working on the grant, we realized that we needed to conclude more of the city infrastructure aspect to that, so we're going to be pushing out a new and improved
But
and
you
enhanced.
had one survey already.
Yeah, we got great returns from
Okay.
that. That's been fabulous. So if you've completed that, we thank you. But please look out for the second survey that's going to go
So
out.
the next one that comes out is different from the
Yes.
first one,
Yeah,
obviously.
some things are going to be the same, but some questions are going to be different, and it really is more of a that was more of a collaborative partnership survey as opposed to the library was just addressing the library needs for our parcel. So yeah, it's a little different, and we need you to do that one too.
Have you developed the second one?
It's
Yeah,
we have a
it's-
meeting right after we're done here
Oh,
to
okay.
proofread it one more time and to let it fly out into the world.
Because you've had it on your website, so if anybody would like to,
Yeah, we still get
Yes.
it, and we still get, you know, get a little ping, so I know, you know, people are still completing that one, and that's
Yeah.
super helpful to do. But be on the lookout for this other one, and don't say, oh, I've already done it. Like, go ahead and redo it.
Yeah.
And we also have paper surveys. We're actually going door to door, talking to our neighbors and getting their input.
has that started yet?
Yeah, so
Have they been receptive?
Yes, and we, you know, and we've received them in the book drop. So if you're a patron of the library, you've probably been asked about this. If you're hearing this for the first time, come on in and just talk to us about it. And we just want everyone's opinion. And we don't have to align on what those needs are, you know. But we want to hear. This is your library. This is your street. This is your light. This is your sewer. This is yours. And so we're just trying to be as transparent as possible, saying, you know, what more can we do right now? And let's get some fixes in here while there's grant monies flowing.
Yeah.
You know.
And just one more question. What kind of programming are you going to be offering this summer at the library? I know some things are slowly opening up.
Yeah. You know.
I guess you've just slowly opened up yourself because now the library's open.
Yeah.
You have brand new carpet, but
I know.
what else is coming?
Well, we're still being very cautious, and you know, we still have to be very conscious of, you know, Martha and I are both vaccinated. We're sitting 6 feet apart. The general public, you come in, you wear masks. So we're used to gathering people and having really big programming, and that has been really hard for us to not see people. But we still have to work within the guidelines of the health department and CDC. So with that being said, our programming is going to be outside for the most part for summer reading. We're going on location. We're going down to the park. We're finding, you know, using our lawn. I think people want to gather, but you know, everybody's got is a mixed bag of comfort levels, and outside is the safest and best. And my God, who doesn't want to go outside after the winter, right? Like, you know, so you know, we're okay. We're going to do that all summer long. With that being said, Cindy, who's behind the camera right now and is in charge of adult programming, some of her groups, her book clubs, Flying Needles just met. And they're doing that within the library, socially distanced within those parameters. But you know, we're trying to, we're trying to make everyone happy. And let me tell you, you know, sometimes you have good days and you have bad days, but we miss people and we want to gather people, and we're
So
still
you are having summer reading.
Yeah, we
And
still are.
when is that going
So
to
it's
start?
going to be just 1 month, and we're just doing June. And so I'm not the best person to ask on exactly when it starts and when it ends. But guess what? If you have a child in Conneaut Area City Schools, you know all about it already. We sent home the guides that we're going to be using, and a lot of it is just, you know, Martha, I'm so glad you brought this up, because really, you know, our kids have been through a lot. And really, at the end of the day, we just want people to enjoy leisure reading.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a mom with a baby on your lap, a young child, an older person, a group of folks, teens, it doesn't matter. Read. Don't read because you have to. I do a lot of that, and it's a drag. Read because you want to. And that's what we want. We just want people to learn how to read and read what they like. And so a lot of our summer reading stuff is self-guided and fun.
But they do need to sign up. Is
But
that
they do
right?
need to sign
Yeah,
up.
so-
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have all of this at the front desk. If you visit our social media, on our webpage, we're trying hard to make sure we keep that all updated. And believe me, if we drop the ball, we hear it from people, and then we scurry to fix it. But we're trying to make sure that we're pushing information out and that everybody has it. The best thing to do, we're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. We'd love to see you. I mean, I really want people to know that the library, we're doing our best to make a clean and safe environment for you.
And
we wanna
I
see
just
you.
have one more question. Not last year, but prior to that, you would have outdoor movies a couple times a summer up at the Conneaut Art Center.
Yeah.
This year? Not
No,
this
I
year?
mean, we have, there's emails that go back and forth, and we may do something like that, but, when we were, looking at licensing and doing that, that's when parameters said that we couldn't meet, and so we didn't lock into any of that, but things change every day.
So it could
It
happen,
could happen,
but right now you're
but
not.
Right
Right
now,
now you're not.
Right now, no, but,
Okay.
we just can't wait to bring everybody back
Yeah.
together, you know, we want this for our community, and it's hard, we know it, it's hard for
Yeah.
us, it's hard for everyone out there, and, you know, we're just keep swimming, that's what we're doing.
Well,
I'm like this, I'm doggy paddling, I'm not
Earlier,
even swimming.
a couple months ago, I came in and it was just dead in here because there was no energy, there was nobody in here.
Yeah.
So this morning I came in and there's a lot of people here, so
I
that's
know,
very, very
I know.
exciting.
It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz when, you know, everything goes to color and you're like, come out. You know, that's exactly what's going on. We're like, come on, it's okay, it's okay. But we're, you know, when you come into the library, you do see that it's different. We're really trying to make a clean, less cluttered. People feel better when they have space around them and things.
And there is
are
a lot,
clean,
there is
you
a
know.
lot of space. If you haven't been here, there's a lot of space out there.
And so, you know, groups can meet here, you know, and that's been very super helpful, especially since our weather hasn't been cooperating. We have had more groups meeting in this library than ever before. Now, I told you, we're not open until 9, but most of our meetings, we accommodate before 9 o'clock. And so, whether they were our LTC grant meetings with our Harbor District, the chamber, the school board, cable advisory board, you know, if you need a meeting space and you're like, I don't know where to go, we can accommodate you. We're open to the public 9 to 5, but please don't let that be you know, we would love to host you, and we can certainly do that if you have a private meeting. We could do that before 9, and you might even be able to, you know, wrangle us to stay open, you know, past 5 o'clock. We've been known to do that too. So whatever it takes.
Well, I know you've been busier, and I so appreciate your taking the time to sit down and talk. I think you have a lot of valuable information, and maybe we'll do this again soon when we get a little bit farther down the road.
I would
and
love that, Martha.
especially after you get word that the grant has been accepted.
Oh, that was very positive
That would be
phrasing.
very, very.
I know. Please.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.